Are you a scrappy quilter? Do you save all the leftover bits of other blocks planning to make something in the future? Well, today I have a variety of hourglass blocks. Let's use up our scraps in a fun project.
Hi, I'm Andy, and this is True Blue Quilts, a place to enjoy, experiment, and excel as you quilt. 4 hourglass units can be put together to make the classic broken dishes quilt block. It's easy to match up the triangle seams when you are sewing them together, and then match the center seam of your 4-patch. Let's take a look at some construction tips before we get into the other hourglass quilt blocks.
It is so important to be consistent when you feed your triangles through the machine for your hourglass blocks. I like to sew with the darker fabric on top and just go down that short side. The reason this is important and you need to be consistent is so that these blocks will match up. If I open these up and try to match, you can see this one I sewed down the dark side, and this one you can see I fed it through with the light fabric on top. So if I were to try to match those up, the reds would be touching and it wouldn't make that pretty hourglass shape. But if I pair it up with another set of triangles that I fed through the machine in the same way, then it opens up and makes our pretty hourglass. So as a reminder, always feed your triangles through the machine the same way. I like to sew with the darker fabric on top so that I can always remember which way I am feeding things through, so that if you get a different color going, you know that you are not going to have your blocks match up. But that can be set aside and paired with something else for a completely random hourglass, or just make sure with another red and white pair that I feed it through with the white on top. No mistakes, only design options. To spin the seam of your block, you need to look at which way the initial seams were going, and we were pressing towards the dark, so that means that our seams are going in a counterclockwise direction. So I need to continue that with this seam. So I am going to pull those seams open, and you can see those threads just pop, and you could use a seam ripper there. I can just work at those with my fingers. And then we have a cute little 4-patch there in the center, and those seams all are spinning around that block, and when I press that again, that will be a nice flat unit. If you need to, just run your fingernail across there to get that block laying flat. To square up our units, we take our 45-degree line on our ruler and place it right in the center of our block, and then we line up whatever measurement you're going for there on the outer edges of the block. And I trim 2 sides, get those scraps out of the way, and then rotate my block 180 degrees. So whatever I just trimmed was in the top right, I'm gonna spin it around to the bottom left. And then same thing, I'm gonna line up that 45-degree on my diagonal line and make sure the same measurement is on the edge of the block. The same measurement that you used for the first trim. And then that block is ready. And we'll do the same thing with our next block. 2 sides, spin it around so the corner's in the bottom left because I am right-handed. If you are left-handed, you're just lining things up this other direction and trimming from the other corner.
Change up your design by using pairs of colors in your broken dishes blocks. Same design, just different colors. For a great stash buster block, pair the hourglass unit with plain squares of fabric cut to the same size. Be as wild and crazy as you'd like, or work with a consistent color scheme. For this variation, sew 2 hourglass units with 2 smaller triangles on the end and 2 larger triangles on the side. Center the hourglass unit on the end triangles and then use the center seam to align the side triangles for the completed block. Then trim to size. Frame a single hourglass unit in the same way that you would add borders on a quilt. 2 on the top and bottom, 2 on the sides. Do you see how the quarter square triangle hourglass section makes the star points of our Ohio star? These are some of my favorite blocks, and they come together as a basic 9 patch. So those are my top 5. No, wait, there's 6 hourglass blocks. You can make a classic broken dishes in sets of 4. You can use pairs of hourglass blocks to make a variation. You can put your hourglass block with solid fabrics. You could frame your individual hourglass units. You can put 2 together and put them in a square arrangement. And finally, you can use hourglass blocks to make the classic Ohio star.
Star blocks are some of my favorites. Leave me a comment below with which of the hourglass units you liked the best. Stay tuned for more fun tutorials from True Blue Quilts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.